right, it's 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this, what is today? Today's Thursday. It's time to talk golf. This show is called Let's Talk Golf. Jim Beckett is on the phone right now. He is a PGA professional and the golf college founder at the Links of Spruce Creek South. He's on the phone this morning, not live in the studio, but your phone calls are important. So if you have a question for Jim during the course of this show, you are invited to call. The number here is 622-9622. That is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. Good morning, Jim. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Pretty good. We were getting a little worried there.
Well, we had a little chaos this morning. I'd much rather be there and relaxing and seeing your smiling face, but we're on the air.
So there's a lot of golf news this week, and I don't know if we should start with the fun or the well, it's all fun, really, I guess.
Of course.
So
what news have you got?
Okay, well, I got the one about the Playboy model. Have you heard about this one?
I have not. You're always my source.
Okay. Well, she is suing. Let's see. She is suing. Who the heck is she suing? She's suing somebody because she was out, I guess, on the golf course, and a radio host wanted her to lay on her belly and allow him to use, well, her body as a golf tee, and so she got a little bit hurt, and she's suing them.
Well, that happens. Actually, if you think about it, would you like to lay down and have somebody hit the ball off your?
No, not at all. Not at all. But it's news and it's about golf, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, they've done that before. John Daly used to do driving exhibitions where he had an extra tall tee and the person would hold it in their mouth, and I think that's just lunatic.
That is lunatic.
He never hit one. I mean, he never hit anybody. He always hit the ball, but that's. I don't think my insurance company will don't insure him. Do you?
No. But see, in her case, she had a radio guy, somebody like me, instead of having somebody like you.
Oh well.
So no wonder.
There you go.
Yeah. And then another
awful nice day, Larry. You guys should be doing this outside.
Well, I'm right next to the window. That's as close as I'm going to get, I think.
I know you are. You got a great view. I notice you notice everybody walking up too.
I notice a lot of them. I don't notice everybody, but I notice a lot of them.
Most of them.
Especially if they would make good golf tees.
So I don't know how many people might be on the radio, this time of year. March is the number one month in Florida.
For golfing?
Yes. It's difficult to get a tee time. They're all jammed up.
Is that why you're down there?
Well, March is pretty tough. It's a tough month, and yet it's a profitable month. But it's a month you've got to stay on your toes to accommodate those golfers, and rightly so. It's a beautiful time, and the weather's great. The golf courses are in great shape, so they're out in droves. And, of course, we have the winter visitors. So we have enough people here to keep the course busy full-time anyway.
Right.
And we have additional visitors who are on so-called vacation. They utilize as much time as they can because they may be going back to some inclement weather even at the end of the month.
Yeah, right. The fact that the Arnold Palmer Invitational is happening right now, does that also get people kind of excited about golf?
Always when you have a local tournament, and especially one with his personal stature and the location there in Orlando, it's kind of opening up the spring season while the weather's still pretty good, and so golf's pretty high on the topic for March. It's just a big month.
But I guess what I'm asking is, you see a lot of people showing up because it's great weather. It's maybe the last hurrah before they go back to the north, and plus you get this motivational event happening just down the road in Orlando.
Yeah, it's really grown into a major tournament. It really has. I was surprised that Tiger didn't just tough it through. They make back braces and what have you. Of course, he's got a little ego there. So if he thinks he can't win, he probably didn't want to play. But I know there are a number of the top players that have played many times in an event because they needed to be there to support the event,
right.
And kind of toughed it through. But who knows? The Masters is obviously a lot more important to him, and it makes sense for him to rest this week, and the Masters is coming up in 3 weeks, so he certainly don't want to miss that. He's never missed it in his career.
Oh, really? And is that something that you attend? And I know you've played in some of them in the past.
I've been to the Masters once, and I've seen the play. Well, I've been there twice, but I've seen the event, and they limit how many people come in, so tickets are almost impossible. People have lifetime tickets, and even if they don't go, they'll let somebody use them or something, but they're not going to give them up because it's near impossible to get one, because they make sure they don't have too big of a crowd, which makes it more difficult to control. So it's a lot different ambience than most tournaments. Everybody at the Masters is really golf savvy. At other tournaments, if it's a local tournament and a person can get there, you have a lot of groupies go, and they're not necessarily big-time golfers, but it's an event. You know, you can see those stars up close. In the Masters, you don't see too many groupies. First time I was there, I was standing near a tee, near a green, and this elderly lady and gentleman were there, and we got to chatting with them, and I said, is this the first time you come to Masters? She said, no, sir, it's our 44th time, and we don't miss it here. It's an event.
Wow.
It's a happening besides being a good golf tournament. And, of course, the pristine piece of land that the Masters is built on is so different than it looks on TV. It is extremely hilly, very steep grades, so steep they're hard to walk. So it's an unusual place, and obviously the Masters, nothing like it actually.
When there's a celebrity, but he's a celebrity from another field, like from a movie or something like that, and they have a handicap. Do they match up well in some of these tournaments? Because I know that some of the news this morning talking about the tournament, there was a few names, and I'm trying to remember if Rush Limbaugh was one of the names or not.
Very possibly so.
So is that
he goes all he can. He loves to go, of course. He's much more of a weekend type golfer. He hasn't taken the time nor have the physical body to play well, but he enjoys it, and it's an outlet for him, and that's part of what golf is.
Okay. Now, the item on him, I just found it real quickly because I was speaking from memory. It says he has an 11.7 handicap. So
that's very, very good. That means he averages something around 12 strokes around above par.
Okay, all right. So the lower you shoot to close to par, if you can shoot par golf, then you'd be a 0. Oh, okay,
so
okay.
People tell you their number. Anything under 18 is good golf.
So does it change after every game?
Yeah, you put your scores in, and it's a rotating history of your last 20 rounds.
Oh, okay. And is it
an average of what you're doing on average?
So is it the honor system? You have to trust somebody when they tell you?
You have to trust the golfer.
Yeah, it would make sense.
So they're not always exactly right.
Well, we have a good phone connection anyway. Sometimes I not so sure when we have a phone interview, but you're sounding really good. If you have a question for Jim during this interview, feel free to call in. The number is 622-WOCA. You have a golf question or just want to add something to the discussion, you're welcome to call. So how is Spruce Creek right now? How's the golf course looking?
Well, we've let our security guard down. We don't have but 40 security guards now. No, I'm only kidding. We're doing very good. The golf course is holding up well. It's in magnificent shape. One of my hats that I wear here is I inspect the course for our owner, Darren, and we want to make sure that we keep an eye on it, because with this much traffic, little areas, could suffer a little bit. But got a great maintenance company and a great superintendent, and of course Darren's a big-time superintendent.
Yeah.
We watch it real close and try to take pains to not let the traffic deter the quality of the course as it's presented to the golfer. And we probably do as good a job, if not the best in the area, by being diligent and consistent.
Right. This is a weird question, but there's a news item that makes me ask it. Has there ever been a golf course fire, I mean on the grass, that was actually caused by the swinging of a golf club?
Darren's shaking his head no. Not that we know of.
No. And because here's the thing, look it up because we're getting a phone call coming in, so I want to go to the phone. But there's a news item on ABC News that says titanium golf clubs can cause a 3,000-degree spark.
They do spark, and if you play at twilight or something, you can see it, but it's not a spark that's going to cause a fire, I don't believe.
Oh, okay. All right.
But a fire then has to have some fuel, and nothing on the golf course is subject to flammable.
So the grass is well enough water that it's not going to...
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine that. All right, let's go to the phone. Thank you for waiting, being patient with us. You're on the air with Jim Beckett.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Beckett.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. A question I have is, what time of the year is it most challenging for groundskeepers to keep the course in top shape? Like, would it be the cold, dry winter or the hot, wet summer?
Any weather, any severe weather is going to be a challenge to compensate for. I've got our owner here who is a professional superintendent. We'll just ask him.
Okay.
Good morning. Each time of the year presents its own challenges. Living in the type of climate that we live in, we can go through, extreme periods of dry weather and extreme periods of wet weather and hot and cold weather likewise. But, being a superintendent in the past for so many years, I think my biggest struggle was in the heat of the summer, just keeping the grass mowed, June, July, and August. I would say that was the single biggest challenge.
Okay. In the wintertime, a lot of courses, if not all of them, use ryegrass. Other than it looking pretty, is there another function for that grass to be used?
Really, the purpose of ryegrass on golf courses, that was introduced years ago. It was a real estate tactic. It was to sell homes on golf courses in the wintertime when the Bermuda and other southern turf grasses were dormant. And over the years, it's just became a common practice, and quite frankly, a practice that I personally don't like. But most courses still do it today. I suspect in the coming years, some of the state governing agencies like the water districts, I think they will start to crack down only because the amount of water that it takes in the wintertime, which is normally our dry season, is pretty excessive. But to be honest, it's really... today just used because customers that come down from the north, they just have that expectation to see green grass.
Well, it looks pretty when you're driving by. I can say that for sure. As far as the greens are concerned, what type of grass is that? It's so much like carpeting.
Yes, sir. It's the greens are Kentucky bluegrass. It's Potriv. It's a little more wear tolerant, which is why it's used on greens. But just like some of those other northern grasses, the rye grasses that we use on the fairways and the tees, at some point between the temperatures, the humidity, and foot traffic, usually April, May, it starts to thin and eventually burn out. But on the greens itself, that's actually called Kentucky bluegrass.
Kentucky bluegrass. Okay, well, thank you very much for your answers. I enjoy your program very much, and I'm looking forward to golfing probably in another month. And I want to let those snowbirds get back up where they belong with the snow up there, and it kind of opens up our courses down here a little more. But thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir. We appreciate you listening.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess that's something maybe local golfers do that a lot. They kind of sit it out waiting for the snowbirds to go home.
Many of the golfers will do that just because in the summertime it's always because of the weather somewhat of an issue to try to get the amount of play you need to be financially successful and maintain the course in high quality. And in the wintertime, you just struggle to see how many players you can get on and prevent the people who want to play being able to get a tee time. So the two seasons are totally opposed. Both of them have their own issues, and both of them have ways you can service those. And so we change gears as the season changes.
I have a question about featured holes. What would be a featured hole on a golf course, or maybe this is a specific tournament question?
Well, a featured hole is a hole that has some distinction cosmetically or through playability. We have a hole here on our course, which we have actually a fairly large light tower on the sixth hole. It's a par 5, and it has you cross water twice. So the golfer looks at it as a challenge for playing. You might have seen that when you were here at the tournament we were here.
Uh-huh.
There's a lighthouse on that sixth hole. And that would be kind of a signature hole for us here. Or it might be a par 3 that has an unusual beauty because you're hitting over water or there's a lake nearby or something. So each course will talk about their signature holes or their holes that might be the ones that are more challenging to play.
Are there wagers? Wages? What's the word when you're betting on something? Wagers. Are there wagers on golf players? Like at this tournament in where is it? Bay Hill? Is that what they call it?
Yes, sir. Bay Hill is there in Windermere.
Are you betting?
No, I don't bet on anything like that. When I play golf, which isn't terribly often, a lot of times just to keep you focused and maybe be competitive, you might play for $1 a side, or you might play for lunch or something like that, so that you don't go to sleep and just practice.
Right.
A lot of good golfers, if they don't play for something, they'll end up using the course as a way to practice shots that they want to get better at. Whereas you play for just anything at all, just human nature, then you're going to try to play your best.
I guess so, yeah.
So that's common. You and I could challenge some people, Larry, this summer if you want to, and see, I'd let them watch you hit the ball, and we'll show them your clubs and all, and we'll get the bet all up in the air, and then we'll go out there and we'll take them for lunch and dinner.
So are there any players to watch? If Tiger Woods is not at the one we're talking about that's down the road, are there other players whose names we should know?
What's happened with the PGA Tour and somewhat on the LPGA Tour is we now don't have just a handful of stars anymore. The quality of play is such that there are people that haven't got the notoriety who play just as well. But because the press needs to have something specific they can hype, they don't get their due. If they win a tournament or do something spectacular, then they start talking about them. But the second tier on the PGA Tour, if I was going to go watch, I don't watch those other people. They're the show. I go watch the better golfers, the ones that day in and day out get that good check and maybe don't have, quite enough distance, or maybe they're not quite as polished a putter or something. But they're the better golfers, day in and day out. But they're not marquee, but they're great, great golfers. The worst golfer on tour is nothing short of magnificent.
Oh, really?
With the worst person out there, yes.
Oh, wow. So
it's got to be outstanding just to get on the tour.
And you've been on the tour before.
Well, it's not the same kind of tour it is now. When I played, the courses weren't nearly as tough. They weren't nearly as long. The greens weren't as slick. So it's a whole new game now. And at that time, I was a good player, but not a tour player. And I learned a lot by qualifying for several tournaments. And the guys who were polished players were very, very congenial and was willing to share information with a fellow pro. And I was really impressed with that, because they're out there trying to make their living, and here's a qualifier who, that's not what I do. I work at a course, not as a player. There's two kinds of PGA players. There's the professional golfer and the golf professional. The professional golfer plays golf. The golf professional works in the golf business. So I'm a golf professional.
But you transferred. You were both. You've been both in your lifetime.
Well, I was a qualifier, so I wasn't ever in that league or in that fold as an official player. They allowed golf professionals to qualify for 3 or 4 spots. Partly back then it was promotion, trying to get more local stimulus to the event. Now it's so big they don't do that anymore because they don't need to. It's become that popular. So it was a give and take situation back then, and nowadays it's just wouldn't be appropriate.
So the golf tournament starts today. Is it on Is it on the Golf Channel or something?
Oh gosh, it'll be on TV many hours on more than one channel probably, and it'll be on the national channel and the Golf Channel over the weekend.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It's really a beautiful course, very tough. And the guys are so good now. Sometimes they like it fairly tough because then the cream of the crop, kind of rises. Where if the course is not as tough, a lesser experienced or quality player has a better chance.
For those listening who are perhaps planning on watching the Arnold Palmer Invitational and you get excited by it, you want to improve your skills, the golf college is right in our own backyard down at the Spruce Creek South. The link's at Spruce Creek South. Spruce Creek South. Boy, I'm having a hard time today, Jim.
You got it, Larry.
And you've got all the equipment there to help us improve, right?
We probably have. And someone could come and challenge that. We probably have the best practice facility in the state, considering everything. We have that indoor learning center, which you've seen, which has a lot of high-tech equipment now, where you take the opinion out and the golfer can come in and actually get educated and become smarter and become better just because he has access to that information. We have the video, we have the launch monitor for the golfers who know what that is, and we have a full theater-size simulator. So it's air conditioned in the summertime.
Of course, that's always good.
And last week when we had an all-day rain, we were in there all day.
Do you know one of the things that we use in music and in radio and probably everything that Robin and I do is feedback. We record ourselves, usually audio, and listen to it later on. And that's how we hopefully will improve a little bit. It sounds like the same thing is true for golf. You give people a way to kind of view themselves, right?
Yeah, it's basically an information thing. That's why we refer to it as the golf college. It's where you can learn and use your own opinion to come to conclusions, which means that you're going to get better just because you're smarter. So it really does work. It's something everybody should come in and take a look at. We'll be making some announcements here shortly in April, and some open houses, and hopefully we're going to have one of the radio days down there on site. So we got some plans put into work.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get some listeners down there as well. That'd be kind of fun to have a WOCA day down at the links.
We'd like to have one down there once a month throughout the summer.
Oh, that'd be cool. Jim, how do we get a hold of you? What's your phone number? My
personal number is 352-470-3876. If people would like to come down and play a great golf course that's in great condition, the number is 352-347-6172. That's the golf course.
All right, excellent. Jim, thank you for calling in. I know it's probably really busy down there. It's difficult to take a half hour out of your day and squeeze it in. We appreciate it. Miss seeing you, though, and tell Darren to get up here once in a while. It'd be fun to see him again.
We're going to do that.
Jim,
we're going to do that for sure. And it was a great talking with you as always, Larry.
And same here, Jim. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we will take a little break and be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala. The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Partly sunny today, rather pleasant with a high of 74 to 78. And mainly clear skies tonight, those ranging from the mid-50s inland to about 61 on the coast. Sunshine mixing with clouds tomorrow, pleasant in the afternoon, high 76 to 80. For Saturday, sunshine and some clouds. There may be an afternoon shower, high 77 to 81. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. Two large objects spotted by satellite floating in the Indian Ocean off Australia are being called the best leads so far in the search for a missing Malaysian Airlines jet. However, they haven't been physically found by search teams and ships and planes scouring the region. After a withering winter, spring is just hours away. It's due to arrive in early afternoon, but some states will be paying winter's bills through summer. Some have spent twice or three times as much money on snow removal than budgeted. A non-invasive test is showing promise in detecting colon cancer without any uncomfortable prep. It's a simple stool sample test, and researchers say it has an amazing 92% accuracy rate. The new twist is a DNA analysis. It could have been a case of scratch, sniff, and die. Police in suburban Philadelphia have arrested a Target employee for allegedly putting rice in on a birthday card to a romantic rival. The plot was foiled when he bragged about it to a coworker who called police. Chronic sleep deprivation can cause brain damage in mice. Scientists are now testing to see if it kills brain cells in humans. This is ABC News.
Your Ford service technician checks a lot of things to keep your car healthy.
Synthetic blend oil change, check. Tires rotated, check. Brakes inspected, check.
They keep your vehicle on the road with a thorough inspection.
Steering and suspension, check. Battery tested, check.
That always includes expert service.
Check.
On even the little things.
Belts and hoses, check. Fluids topped off, check. Wipers and lights, check. All done by an expert Ford service tech, check.
And you get a great deal.
Check.
Right now, bring your vehicle in for expert service from an expert tech and get a $25 mail-in rebate when you purchase a new Motorcraft Tested Tough Plus or Tested Tough Max battery. That's $25, only at your Ford dealer. Rebate by prepaid debit card. See your participating Ford dealer for exclusions and rebate details through 3/31/14.
Here are today's headlines from the source WOCA. The Ocala Police Department is reporting the arrest of a 55-year-old man charged with attempted murder after allegedly beating his 87-year-old father with a metal pipe and a sledgehammer. The arrested man is identified in the report as Alan Krosky of Ocala. The report states that yesterday Ocala police arrested Krosky after he admitted to beating his 87-year-old father, Ralph Krosky, so badly that he thought he was dead. Police say the two men were arguing in the carport in front of the house when Alan grabbed a pipe and began the beating. Neighbors who lived near the home where the two men lived said the son was known to suffer from some sort of a mental condition. Online records show Alan Krosky was Baker acted twice last year. He is now being held in the Marion County Jail on a charge of attempted murder. At last check, the father was listed in critical condition at Ocala Regional Medical Center. Family members say his prognosis looks grim. A man convicted of killing two female co-workers by beating them with a hammer and setting them on fire is scheduled for execution tonight at Florida State Prison in Stark. 55-year-old Robert L. Henry was sentenced to die for the November 1987 slayings of 53-year-old Phyllis Harris and 35-year-old Janet Thermidor, with whom he worked at the Cloth World store in Deerfield Beach. After the attacks, he stole $1,269 from the store. Although Henry at first told police the crime was committed by an unknown assailant, Thermidor lived long enough to positively identify him as the perpetrator in a recorded statement to investigators. Broward State Attorney Michael Satz, who prosecuted the 1988 trial, told the jury that Henry had committed one of the most cold-blooded acts in recent memory. Henry is scheduled to die by injection at 6 p.m. tonight. The Florida Supreme Court last week rejected his most recent appeals, including yet another challenge to the state's lethal injection. And the husband of the woman who drove her van with her 3 children aboard into the ocean in Daytona is asking a judge to dismiss an injunction ordering him to stay away from his sister-in-law. A statement from the man's attorney, John Hager, says that 31-year-old Lutful Runyon did not threaten to kill Jessica Harrell, and even if he had, there is still not enough evidence to support the temporary injunction for protection against repeat violence. The injunction orders Runyon to stay away from Harrell, her house, her child's school, and a residence where the family is staying. Harrell is the sister of Ebony Wilkerson, the woman accused of 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 3 counts of child abuse with great bodily harm for driving into the surf on March 4th with her children. The 28-year-old Harrell stated in her petition that she has witnessed violence against her sister repeatedly at the hands of Runyon and mentioned an incident in 2005 when Runyon and Wilkerson lived in Boynton Beach. Harrell said she tried to stop Runyon from strangling Wilkerson, and he threatened her with a knife, according to court documents. Marion County School Superintendent George Tommen announced the new principal at Madison Street Academy, whom will start on Monday, March 31st, the first day back for students after spring break next week. Kendra Hamby, an 11-year employee of Marion County Public Schools, will be the new principal at Madison Street Academy of Visual and Performing Arts in Ocala. Hamby earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in elementary education from Taylor University. Her Master of Science degree in education comes from Butler University. Hamby also completed the Indiana Principal Leadership Academy before embarking on her public education career here in Florida. Hamby joined the district in 2003 as a substitute teacher and rose through the ranks as magnet coordinator and dean of Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary and assistant principal at Osceola Middle School. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
Hello, I'm here to tell you a little bit about the Ocala Leads Group. We meet the first Monday of each month right here at the WOCA studios. We are open to all business people that need to connect to each other and network to help this fine community grow. Again, the name is Ocala Leads Group, and we meet the first Monday of each month at 12:07 p.m. right here at the WOCA studios. Questions? Call 732-8000. Please, make the time to grow.
Ocala's Got Talent, and it's happening again this Saturday, March 22nd from 7 p.m. to... Talent will be at Citizen Circle, right in the middle of downtown Ocala, and we're going to see who will be the best this year. Want to go? That's easy. Buy your tickets at Pasture Sports or even at the event, but you don't want to miss it. Yes, Ocala's Got Talent, and you will see it only if you buy your tickets, which proceeds will go to Project Hope of Ocala. You have questions? Then call 352-624-4673. Ocala's Got Talent this Saturday. See you there.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Frederick's Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance.
When it comes to Truck Month, bigger is better, and nobody has a bigger selection or better prices than Palm Chevrolet of Ocala. And this week only at Palm Chevrolet of Ocala, every truck in our huge inventory will be marked down to our final sacrifice price. We've been instructed by General Motors to eliminate hundreds of new Chevrolet trucks at factory invoice. Plus, you keep all the rebates. You pay less than we pay, with no hassles or negotiations. The price you see is the price you pay on hundreds of new Chevrolet trucks, and you keep all the rebates. Plus, Palm Chevrolet will take any trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. Get fast and easy credit approval, even if your credit is less than perfect, with as little as $0 down. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Get the lowest price, more for your trade, and the best selection anywhere. Only at Palm Chevrolet of Ocala, 2300 Southwest College Road, exit 350, just east of I-75 in beautiful Ocala.
Plus tax, title, license, trade balance, carried a new loan with approved credit, find new roads.
PalmChevy.com.
Hi, Danny Warfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
This is a public notice. Local residents can now save thousands of dollars on their next car, truck, or SUV. It's not a tent sale, because no tent is big enough to hold this many cars. It's OcalaForSale.com. Say goodbye to sticker shock. OcalaForSale.com has thousands of vehicles with no stickers at all. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge, undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
All right, thank you. 20 minutes before 11 o'clock. Beautiful day. First day of spring. What does spring bring to mind, Robin? It brings a few things, one of them being baseball.
Yes.
And it's a pretty exciting thing, you know, whether you play baseball, whether you know somebody who plays baseball, maybe you just like going to the games. This morning we were talking about the pitch, hit, and run competition that Galen Unold is trying to organize for the young people in our community. And we can give you details about that later on. But right now, Stephen D. Keener is on the phone. He's the president and CEO of Little League Baseball. He himself apparently has 2 children who are Little Leaguers. He's responsible for the expansion of the Little League Baseball World Series from 8 teams to 16 teams with the construction of the Volunteer Stadium and the growth of Little League's use of technology as well. I'm wondering what that is. The Little League Big Legacy Project is what we're focusing on today. Let's say good morning to Stephen D. Keener. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Where are you right now?
We're in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, the birthplace of Little League Baseball 75 years ago.
Is that right? I couldn't have told you that trivia question. Wow. So it's an exciting day. It's spring. Is today the kickoff of the big legacy project?
Well, it's part of it. We actually launched it a week or two ago, but today we're focused on a lot of radio station interviews regarding the Big Legacy program. So we really appreciate you and Robin taking the time to talk to me a little bit about it. But Little League Big Legacy is if I can explain to you a little bit about what it is. LittleLeagueBigLegacy.com is the website to go to, and the Big Legacy project is an opportunity for really millions of people who've been associated with the Little League program since 1939 to have an opportunity to share a photograph or a memory that they'd like to tell us about. And those will all be collected and put into a digital mosaic, which will be unveiled on June 6th of 2014. That's the actual day the first Little League game was played here in Williamsport. And so it really gives everybody a chance to be part of the celebration. The other side of it is, and this will be my commercial, but an organization called Pitch In for Baseball, who we work with very closely. There will be a $50,000 donation made to Pitch In for Baseball. Anybody that gets on the website can donate $1 if they'd like to. They don't have to do that. That's not a requirement of participating. But the donation will go to Pitch In for Baseball. And Pitch In for Baseball is an organization that helps us provide baseball equipment to kids who have a need in perhaps some disadvantaged communities. And whenever a natural disaster strikes an area, Pitch In for Baseball is the group we go to help get Little Leagues back on their feet after they've suffered some kind of a natural disaster. For example, they help get a lot of leagues back on their feet after Hurricane Sandy went up through Staten Island, New York.
Right.
Pitch In for Baseball went in and with their trucks and had new equipment and a lot of assistance to help Little Leagues get up and running again. So we're the financial contributions from this Big Legacy project are all going to go to Pitch In for Baseball to help with their program.
Now, are there any qualifications for the photos? My son is an adult now, but he was in Little League, so could I submit his old photos?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really the whole point of it. We want people to use it as an opportunity to sort of reconnect with that Little League moment that they had. We talked to one of a radio personality earlier this morning who was telling us about his own Little League experience, and before we were off the air, he had his Little League photo posted and into the project already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's open to everybody, and we encourage as many people to participate as possible.
And is it fair to say, like I'm proud of the they gave out little baseball cards back in those days. Mm-hmm. And with your child's photo on it, as if they were like a professional baseball player. Could we submit that, or is that copyrighted somehow?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You can anything like that. You can scan it and send it in. Happy to have it. A lot of leagues over the years when they take the photos of the kids, they'll have like photo day, and they'll take a team picture, but they'll also do individual pictures and then provide the kids with 10 or 20 look like baseball cards.
Right, absolutely. Now, I went to the website you just told us, LittleLeagueBigLegacy.com, and can you touch on the Taylor Hooten Foundation?
Yeah, the Taylor Hooten Foundation, that's an important part of our educational programming. I was really surprised. I got to know Don Hooten, who runs that foundation. I was really surprised to learn through a survey of high school kids how many high school age kids were using performance enhancing drugs for appearance purposes and not even so much for athletic performance enhancement. And what we found is parents just don't know enough about this issue. You know, you hear about steroids at the major league level or the big, and it gets a lot of attention, but there's a real concern for kids who are in, sort of the high school age range, and that's a real problem. So what we're going to do with the Taylor Hooten Foundation is we're working with them to create an educational initiative, which we're going to make available to every Little League parent, Little League coach, just to tell them, here are some facts you probably ought to be aware of as your child gets a little closer to this age. Some things you ought to look for that maybe Don Hooten and his wife didn't see with their son Taylor when he was growing up.
Oh, wow, that's an important thing to do, yeah.
You're also celebrating your Diamond anniversary. How does that make you and the people around you feel?
Well, everything's a little nostalgic right now. I think everything we do, we're thinking, well, how does that reflect on 75 years of our program? And so it makes us feel good. I think what makes us feel good is that we're probably one of the few institutions whose mission hasn't really changed since it was started in 1939. Little League is really the same today as it was then. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that have changed, but the purpose of the Little League program hasn't changed, and that's to give kids in a community an opportunity to use baseball and softball really as just vehicles to instill in them some qualities that we hope will be a benefit to them as they get older. And I think that's what parents are really looking for from the Little League program. We're not in the business of trying to create big league baseball players. We'd rather create big league people, and that's
nice.
That's the mission today.
But some of the big league people are actually big league baseball players that were Little League baseball players, I'm guessing, right? And are they submitting? In other words, you have some famous players who were, when they were children, are they submitting their photos?
Yeah, we're working with a number of them. We actually have in Williamsport what we call the Little League Hall of Excellence. It's kind of our Hall of Fame, and Little League Baseball will be the subject of a PBS documentary in early June, reflecting on the 75 years of our program. And for example, President George W. Bush is the only president of the United States to play Little League Baseball. So President Bush is featured in the documentary.
Wow, never knew that.
But we have famous people who are in the Hall of Excellence. And we have people that you may not have heard of, but have compelling stories to tell. One is a gentleman named Story Musgrave. That name won't mean anything to people, but Story Musgrave is a NASA astronaut who went up and fixed the Hubble telescope.
Wow.
And, he played Little League Baseball. We have a New York Times best-selling author in our Hall of Excellence, Harlan Coben. We have a number of baseball players: Tom Seaver, Mike Schmidt. Some great names from Carl Yastrzemski. People like that. So a lot of baseball, and today probably almost 3/4 of the guys playing Major League Baseball today played in a Little League program at one time.
It would seem that way, wouldn't it? So the main purpose of the radio tour is to promote the Little League Big Legacy project, and the main purpose of the project is to raise money for the things you were talking about earlier, the equipment and
right, for pitching for baseball. Yes.
Yeah.
So when and one more thing about Little League is that boys and girls will play on the same teams together, at least in our area.
Oh no, that is true. We have actually a separate Little League softball program that is designed just for young ladies to play. But both girls and boys play Little League baseball. That wasn't always the case back in the 60s and into the early 70s. But since that time, girls have played on the same teams with boys. In fact, we've had, I won't get the number exactly right, but I think we've had probably 15 or 20 girls play in the Little League Baseball World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Oh, really? Now,
one that I'm particularly proud of is a young lady named Chrissy Wendell. She actually was the starting catcher on her Little League team here in Williamsport at the World Series. Chrissy played out in Minnesota, or in the Minneapolis area. Chrissy went on to become the captain of 2 USA Women Olympic ice hockey teams.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it's people like that whose names might not be recognizable right away, but they've certainly accomplished a great deal in their career. And those are the kind of people we like to point to and say, you don't have to be Tom Seaver. You don't have to be Clayton Kershaw. What you can learn on a Little League field can help you in all walks of life, and that's really our goal.
If somebody we know sends a photo into the Little League Big Legacy project, okay? Mm-hmm. How do I find the picture? If it's let's say my cousin up in New York or somebody sends in the picture, how do I find it?
I believe now you're probably getting into a technical aspect that's beyond my capability to really understand. But as I understand it, once the photos or the memory are submitted and they're actually placed in the mosaic, then there's you can go in there to search the mosaic to find what you're looking for.
Okay.
I don't know necessarily how you do it, but I know that you can go in there and say, I want to look for so-and-so's picture or my son's picture or what I put in or someone else's. There is a search capability on the mosaic to kind of see where you fit into it.
And you might have said this and I just missed it, but the mosaic puts a picture of it. All the little pictures become one big picture, right?
Yes, that's correct. And that one big picture will be unveiled on June 6th.
That's
revealed on June 6th.
Okay, that's why I was not sure what it was, because we don't know what it'll be, right?
Don't know what it is yet. It will be, all we can tell you is that it will be a significant historic Little League photo.
And all you do to do it is you submit the photo on, is it Twitter, Facebook, or anything? You just put the hashtag?
You can do it by Twitter. You can actually go on to the website itself and submit it. There are. I would tell people probably the safest way to do it is go to littleleaguebiglegacy.com.
Okay.
And all the instructions are there. You can figure out how to do it from once you're on the website, it's very clear what you need to do to and it gives you all the options that you have available for you.
Okay.
One of the most interesting things about you, sir, and about the Little League itself is that it's not just in the United States. In our notes, it says that it's in Australia, Brazil, even Uganda as well. I didn't realize it was global.
Oh yeah, Little League has been a global program. Actually, our first international program was in 1951 up in Canada. But since that time, when baseball was really introduced as an Olympic sport back in the mid '80s, that's when the international expansion really began to take off. And since that time, Little League's grown from probably 15 or 20 countries to the 82 or 83 that we're in today. I think it's kind of ironic that the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks were in Australia to open the Major League Baseball season today and tomorrow. And last year, for the first time, we had a team from Australia in the Little League World Series, which was fun.
Wow.
Our guest is Stephen Keener. He's the president and CEO of Little League Baseball. And I want to ask you a few things about your bio. It says here that you expanded it, the Little League Baseball World Series from 8 teams to 16 teams back in 2001. You were involved with the construction of the Volunteer Stadium. Is that up in Philadelphia?
No, it's in Williamsport. What we did was, prior to 2001, we had just 8 teams in the Little League World Series, 4 from the United States and 4 international teams.
Okay.
And we've always felt that we wanted to give more kids the opportunity to participate in an event that had become very popular. So we needed to expand our facilities in order to accommodate bringing 4 more U.S. teams and 4 more international teams, which is what we have today, 16 teams in the Little League World Series. So we had to have housing facilities built. We had to have a second stadium where we could play the games, all those things. So that's what that's really referring to. But all that is located right here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And the use of technology, what did you do? What is that?
Well, we were probably a little bit behind the curve on that for some time. But what we mean by the use of technology is we actually now have an online player registration program. In the old days, you used to go down to the fire hall or the church basement or somewhere to sign up for Little League Baseball. Well, we were probably a little slow in getting to this, but we now have a digital online program that leagues can use. So busy parents can register their kids maybe from work during their lunch break instead of having to worry about getting to the physical location to do the player registration.
Oh yeah.
We've become very much an online world, and we've just tried to bring Little League up to speed so that our leagues can do most of the paperwork that's required to be affiliated with Little League Baseball. They can do it online now. So that's really bringing us up in the use of technology.
It's really incredible the way the parents really stand by the children and become their cheerleaders and things. But how do you keep the parents from interfering with the coach's job?
Well, that's always a tough task. I had somebody tell me once that the best Little League team would be a team of 9 orphans.
Oh.
It's a cute thought, but the point is probably 95% of the parents, and we have millions of them involved in our program, are there for the right reasons and conduct themselves the right way. But the way to do it is to encourage the coaches to communicate with the parents before the season starts, so that everyone can understand what expectations they should have. So a coach can tell the parents, here are my expectations, and then the parents can ask the coaches that, here's what I want my child to get from the experience. So communication is really the key to that, and we actually draft educational materials that we give out to our leagues to tell them how to do this. But if they do that, they usually have very few problems. So, not too many parents interfere with the coaches, but if they communicate, you can probably avoid a lot of that.
In addition to the photographs, the information that was provided to us mentions that anybody can submit their stories, which I think would be very, very interesting to read, and not just their memories about the games, but about how it played a role in the development of them as people. Mm-hmm. I think that's always fascinating. Each morning you might have heard me introduce you mentioning something called pitch, hit, and run, and that is because of a segment that Robin and I do with another guy named Galen Unold, who's with the local blood bank. He's involved with Little League and with baseball in general, and quite often he will say that the children who played Little League don't remember the scores from their games. They just remember the fun. They remember the lessons they learned, the life lessons. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think you probably talk to most people who played Little League Baseball. When it's over, that's what they will remember, and those are the memories we want to share through the Big Legacy Project.
Well, and it is sportsmanship. I think that is one of the things that we're making a mistake by trying to downplay the importance of competition, healthy competition. I think that's an important part of growing up.
Healthy competition is vitally important, and we talk about instilling just a desire to excel, trying to do your best. That's a quality that will serve you well, whether you're playing baseball or doing a lot of other things. You mentioned sportsmanship. One of my favorite aspects of the Little League world. It's not affair because I don't like to see it happen, but unfortunately, sometimes a pitcher will hit a batter with a pitched ball. In Little League, very often you're going to see the pitcher walk over to first base and make sure that the player that he just hit is okay. Maybe pat him on the shoulder. They'll shake hands a little bit. To me, that's the value of Little League. You're learning a lesson there. You probably won't see it at many other levels of baseball, but I think it's an important lesson to keep teaching Little Leaguers.
Absolutely. I have a cousin. Robin and I are approaching 60 years old, so we're not really young. I have a cousin who's older than me, a lot older. He's probably 70 or more, and he had he was a baseball guy all of his life, and went on to become a very successful businessman, to the point where he could afford one of those baseball fantasy camps, which they're not cheap.
Yeah.
So I will definitely get in touch with him and make sure he knows about this, so he can submit his photo and probably his son's photo. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, encourage everybody like him to do it. I really want to thank you both for having me today. I know we've taken a lot of your time already, so I know you have to run. I know I have to. So just visit littleleaguebiglegacy.com, and that's where you'll get it all. And tell him to get on there and tell us his stories. We're anxious to hear them.
I will do that, and our listeners, I'm sure, will be doing that as well. littleleaguebiglegacy.com. Stephen Keener, thank you so much for being with us today.
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right. We will take a break. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Joe from Damage Control Services. Join me Tuesdays at 10:30 when we discuss what to do when your property gets damaged, how to fix it fast, and get back on track. At Damage Control, we specialize in helping home and business owners recover from damage caused by floods, fires, storms, tree damage, mold, and all other insurance-related disasters. So when disaster strikes, big or small, call Damage Control Services. Call me 352-817-6574.
352-507-5352. 352-507-5352. 352-507-5352.